Hello everybody. Angie here. I am coming on with week 3 of my series for June of making each week of making an ephemera folder pouch of some sort using one piece of 12 by 12 paper. We're on week 3. Week 1, I'll quickly go through what I made. We made this little ephemera pouch here, and we did not waste any of the paper. We used every bit of the 12 by 12, and it's got a belt loop closure right here. You open it up and there it is. Got a nice big pouch here for ephemera and a nice big pouch here to hold ephemera, and that can be tucked in your journal, used as a standalone piece, however you choose to use it. Really cute, and it packs a punch, holds a lot of stuff there. Okay, then last week we made this one, and again we used a whole sheet of 12 by 12 paper. I think we just had the smallest little strip left over from this, or actually we may not have had any. I think we used the whole thing, to be honest. Okay, and in my series I am using one-sided paper, but this is a great project if you have two-sided paper. I just don't have that much of 12 by 12 two-sided paper, so that's why you will see on the insides and some of the portions that you see the blank side, but I don't have a problem with that. So if that's something that bothers you in these makes, you can collage on them, you can stamp on them, you can ink on them, decorate it up however you see fit. But I don't mind it, especially on the inside, because once you start tucking in your goodies, that's going to fill up that blank space anyway. So this one here, you open it up this way and it's got like a pocket style, and you've got a nice big side tuck there to put in goodies, tuck there for goodies. You open up this side, another side tuck for goodies, another side tuck for goodies, and in the middle you've got a really big deep pocket right down there to tuck in some big pieces as well. Okay, these are great for gifts. You know, make one up really quick, tuck in a few goodies and give it away, give it as gift, as, you know, thinking of you, have fun doing some makes, you know, what have you. I really enjoy making these types of projects because they can be used as gifts. So with that being said, here's this beautiful piece of paper, 12 by 12. We're going to be making this week's make out of this one. Okay, and this here is what we're going to be making. I'm not going to open it yet because I want you to see the construction and actually maybe get a little excited as to how we're going to make this. Okay, and again, no waste on this project either. Okay, so let's get into it. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody is well. My week has been good, other than, as I keep saying, each and every day, because it is each and every day. Just rain, but I don't have a problem with that, because regardless, it keeps me in my craft room, which was where really ultimately I'd love being, is here with you guys. Okay, so this one here, we're going to do a few score lines, we're going to do a few cuts, and like I said last week, almost you can make these blindfolded. They're so easy, but they're so durable, they're so effective, and you can use them, like I said, in just so many different ways. Okay, I'm keeping my makes very simple as far as making them and decorating them, but you could take the concept and just run wild with it. Okay, have fun and do a lot of fun stuff with it and build on it. But you know, for time's sake of the video, I'm just keeping it pretty simple. Okay, so let's start with our scoreboard. As I said, we have a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. Okay, we are going to start. I'm going to bring in my scoreboard, and you may not be able to see the whole piece of paper, but it's just one 12 by 12 sheet of paper. It's one-sided. Okay, it's non-directional, which is perfect for these types of projects, but if you have a directional paper, make sure you keep that in mind with the scores and the lines that you make. Have it in the right direction. Okay, so let me pull out my knife here. All right, we're going to line this baby up. okay? And we're going to start, very first thing, we're going to cut off 1 inch. It doesn't really matter which side because this is non-directional, okay? So I'm going to take this down and I'm going to cut off 1 inch. Excuse me. My apologies. Now keep that, we're going to use it, okay? Now, we've got a piece of paper, it's 11 by 12. Okay, so keeping that in the position that we've got it on the 11-inch side, we're going to do a couple scores. We're going to score it at 2.5. And we're going to score it at 8. Okay, then we're going to turn it, give it a half a turn on the 12-inch, line it up on the 12-inch side, and we're going to score it at 4 inches and at 8 inches. Okay, so 4 score lines. This is what you've got. Okay, now we're going to turn it back to the 11-inch side, face forward. Okay, we're going to remove our scoreboard. Okay, now I'm going to crease on all those lines, just so it'll be a little bit easier to see, hopefully. Grab my bone folder here. So I hope you guys are grabbing a piece of 12 by 12 and you're crafting along with me today. This is really, really fun. And like I said, I enjoy making projects like these. But the idea for this is just using one 12 by 12 sheet of paper. Okay. Now, the projects that I'm bringing to you in this series, can we build upon those and elaborate them and make them even more special or foo-foo-y or decorative? Absolutely. But I'm just giving you the basic construction for these pieces, and then you can go from there. Okay. All right. So I think we're back on the 11-inch side. Let me double check. And we are. Okay, so this is what you've got right here. Okay, you've got the 11-inch on top and the 12-inch running down by the side. Okay, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to grab a pencil and we're going to remove these 4 corners. This corner, this corner, this corner, and this corner. Now you can just freehand those. You could bring in a scoreboard, however you want to do, and just remove those corners, okay? I'm just going to use my ruler and my finger blade and kind of hope for the best. So I'm going to cut right down there. Okay, now we may have to clean up these edges just a little bit because sometimes you have to cut on it. For projects like these, you have to cut on the inside of the score line or on the outside of the score line. We can clean those pieces up once we see where we're at. So don't panic. Like I said, if you want to just freehand it, feel free to just freehand your cuts. My scissors are not the best, so I'd rather just use I feel more comfortable using my finger blade 99% of the time. Okay, so I'm just trying to get it right on the score line. All right, so can't see those corners too well, so that's why I didn't get right up next to those. All right, so let's finish those cuts. I can see what I'm doing. It's kind of late in the day here, so there's a little bit of shadowing while I'm filming, so that's why I can't see the edges really well. Okay, Now we've got 4 pieces, the 4 corners, outer corners removed. And hold on to those because we're going to be using those as well. Okay, so this is what we've got here. All right, so since it's non-directional, it doesn't really matter. As you can see, the middle square, so to speak, or should I say more like a rectangle, we want it with the long side going horizontally, okay, and the shorter side going vertically. Okay, that makes sense. Now, make the piece a little bit more decorative. There's a couple different ways that you can do this. Okay, this edge here, we got to even those up first. Okay, so I'm going to use my grid here. This flap is 2.5 inches, and this flap is 3 inches. So we need to even those sides up. So I'm going to cut a 1/2 inch off of this side, the longer side. And hold on to that strip that you remove as well, because there might be a possibility we can use that. Okay, keep all your pieces. Okay, so now these 2 side flaps are the same. They're each both 2.5 inches. And I just don't want them touching. I want there be a little bit of a gap there. Okay? Now these ones are going to close up, and you want those to come all the way. So this is where I said where your cuts are, where you want to cut them on the inside of the score line that you made, because see, when I put that down and then I go to close this, there's a little bit of it's kind of butting up right up to the score line. So all I'm going to do, you can do it freehand or use a razor blade, or or a ruler, and I'm just going to cut like a 1/16 of an inch off of there, just the smallest amount. Okay, so when we close this, it doesn't hinder the next flap. And see, the top flap meets right at the end nicely. So you may have to just touch up your little cuts right there. So then we just want to make sure all our cuts are going to close. This one closes well. This one gives me a little bit of a buckle right there. So I'm going to trim the smallest edge off of there. Doing the same thing. Just a sliver. Okay, and let's see how that works. Okay, so that closes up much better. It's not bulking, it's not giving me any trouble at all. And that's our piece right there. Okay, but we're not going to stop there. Okay, now what we're going to do, the next piece, is I want to make these flaps kind of a little bit more, I guess you want to say, decorated. I want them to look more like an envelope flap. So I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to use my grid line. Now again, you can freehand it, but I'm going to use my grids, lines on my mat. And I'm just going to martyr those flaps just the smallest amount. So I'm going to start at the center cut, and I'm going to come in, I'm going to say about a 1/2 inch. Okay, can you guys see that? Yeah. Okay, so I'm lining it up straight on my line here. Then I'm going to take my ruler from the corner, and I'm going to come in a 1/2 inch right there. Okay, just cut off just a little piece, just like that. Now you can use that as a marker and go all the way around and do all 4, or while it's in place, just do the same thing. Come to the 1/2 inch and do an easy cut, just like that. Okay, and you're going to turn it around, and you're going to do the same thing. And all you're doing is kind of just giving it a little bit of a decorative flap, more like a, I don't know, like an envelope flap, or a, something like that. But completely up to you on this. You can leave them square. I just don't want all 4 flaps to be the same. Okay, and that's all we cut off right there. All right, so now we're going to bring it back in the right position, and this is what we have. Okay, 2 flaps like that, flap here, and a flap there. All right. So let's open it up and let's bring our 4 corners that we cut off back into play. Now these ones we're going to use for pockets. Okay. So the 2 wide, we've got 2 wider ones and 2 a little bit more narrow. Like that. Okay. Doesn't really matter which. So I'm going to take the wider ones and we're going to put 1 on each side corner of the flap. I'm going to put 1 on this side, or you could do this side. Doesn't really matter. But we're going to do it on opposite corners. So if you bring it to this side, your next piece is going to bring up to this corner up there. Or if you do this corner, then you're going to reverse it and bring it to that corner. Okay? So we're going to do that next, but so I can see the lines a little bit better, I'm going to ink. And we'll just use Vintage Photo. I'm just going to ink around those scored lines. We're going to ink all around the whole piece, but I'm just getting the middle section right now so I can see a little bit better where those score lines are. Okay, now from this point, if you want to do thumb pulls on them, you can do that. So why don't we do that? I like to use my envelope punch board. Okay, so we'll just do both of them at the same time. And these are 4 inches. So to get it right in the middle, we're going to come to about 2 and give it a little snip. Okay. And before we put those pockets down, we'll go ahead and put a little ink on those edges. All right, now we're ready to glue these pockets down. I'm going to turn this sideways just so I can see it a little bit better. Line it up, just bring it to the inside edge of the crease line. Right there. Okay. Oops, moved on me. I like to get it in place and then lift up the edge and glue it down. But however you feel the most comfortable, and glue your pocket down. And just like that. And I'm going to do the other side. So I'm going to turn it so I have it closer to my view. I'm going to glue the other one down to the opposite corner. Line it up next to the score line, but not going over. There we go. Okay, so now we want to check our edges. Flip it over and see if any's overhang there. We want to trim that off. Check the other side. A little bit of overhang, so let's clean that up. Okay, there we go. And this is what we've got so far. Okay, now for these ones, what we're going to do, we're just going to cut that in half. So I want to put a pocket in the middle, but I don't want it to be that tall. And then it's cut down to like 2.5. And if I put it there, that's a pretty tall pocket. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut these down to 2 inches. And I'll come up by the here so you can see. Let me cut it at 2 inches, maybe even 1 3/4. I'm gonna go down to 1 3/4. However tall you want your pocket, that's up to you. You might want it 1 1/2. You might want to leave it 2 1/2. Okay. Put those to the side. Okay. Now we're going to put a pocket here, but these aren't long enough, so we're going to piece the two together. Okay, just like that. And we're going to glue a pocket right onto there. So I'm just going to glue one onto the other. Overlap them about 1/2 inch and glue them down. Okay, then we're going to measure. Let's flip it over so I can do a little notch. Now this I'm just going to freehand. I'm just going to guess right there. So I got it straight. Looks good. Okay, now before I put that pocket down, ink around the edges of that. If you want to do a notch, do a notch. I want each pocket to be a little bit different, so I'm not going to do a notch on this one. I'm just going to leave it straight. And I'm going to glue that baby down. Put glue on 3 sides. There we go. Got that piece left over. Okay, so this is what we're looking at now. Okay, we've got a pocket on opposite sides, and then we've got a middle long pocket there. Okay, now you can do some pockets on these flaps if you like. You do belly bands on this side if you like, whatever you see fit. So let's take these 2 narrow strips that we cut off. We can do belly bands here, or you can do little side tucks here. Your choice. Let's do little side tucks. Okay. Again, I'm not going to do any tab pulls. I'm just going to ink around the edges. And we'll trim off the excess. Line that up. And down we go. Do the other one the same way. Just ink around those edges. Putting glue on 3 sides. And down we go. Okay, now we can flip it over, trim off the excess edge pieces. See, I like to use my finger blade. I just feel like I have better control. Okay. So this is what we have now. We've got 5 little pocket tuck spots. Okay. Pocket, pocket, and a pocket. Okay. Now, we just close it up. And essentially your ephemera folder is made. Okay, but we need some type of a closure, right? There's a couple different ways that you can make a closure. I'm going to show you the way I made the other one, but there's an alternative. Okay, so I'm making this my exterior flap, okay, like that. So I'm just going to do a wraparound belly band with that 1-inch strip that we cut off. Now there's a couple other options. If you want to use these flaps as your exterior pieces, fold these in first, and then these ones will be on the outside. You can do cut a couple circle punches. Okay, I'm not going to do it, but I'm just going to show you. Pretty easy. I'm sure you're how you do like the policy closures. Okay, cut maybe 4 circles. Okay, and then you're going to put one circle on top of the other. Match them up. Just like that. Do the other one the same way. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put one with a brad there, one with a brad there, and then you're going to tie a piece of string and make yourself a policy type closure with a little bit of a piece of twine or crochet twine of some sort. You're going to put one there and one there, and that will be your closure. Okay, but I choose that I want the larger flap on the outside, okay, just to kind of hold everything in a little bit better. So this is going to be my top since the pocket is going in this direction. So we're going to close those first, then this bottom one, and bring the top one over. Now, so this one, we're just going to make ourselves a belly band closure, okay. And we're just going to, and we don't want it too tight, okay? You want to give it a little bit of looseness. Is that a word, looseness? Just because we're going to fill this baby up. So if you put it too snug, once you put your goodies in there, your belly band won't fit. So I'm going to leave maybe, you know, like 1/4 of an inch or so. So we have a little bit of room for the thickness when we start filling this baby up, okay? And we're just going to glue this flap right down. Oops. Just like that. And see, I made it loose enough to where there's some room. Once we start putting goodies in there, it will slide freely. Okay. So now all we have to do is finish inking around our whole project, including the belly band. Leaving no white edges. Isn't this paper gorgeous? So pretty. sure there's ink on all the edges, everywhere. And I think I got it all. Yep. Okay, and that, my friends, is our ephemera holder. Let me put the lid on my glue here. Okay, and that is it. Just like that, guys. Okay, now here's the 2 circles in case you want to use the policy style closure, and here's our belly band. But the only thing we have left in that 12 by 12 sheet of paper are these teeny, itsy scraps. We used 99.89% of that 12 by 12 paper. So this little bits, we can just discard those. Okay, I'll hold on to these. I might be able to use them for another project, but I'm choosing to do a belly band closure. So that will just slide over the top, just like that. And we've got ourselves a nice 5.5 by 4 inch ephemera holder. And then just decorate it. You can't really decorate the inside too much because of the pockets and the way that it folds closed, but you could definitely decorate the belly band or the top flap of your project. And I'm thinking, as if there's not enough flowers on the paper, I think I want to add another flower to the belly band. So let me grab my flowers and see what I've got in here. Oh, I got some big ones. That even looks pretty right there. Poinsettia, that's pretty. Look at that. That's more like Christmas though to me. Oh, here's some puffy stickers. Puffy flowers. Oh yeah, let's go with that. And I'm thinking this white one just so it pops off of the colored background a little bit better. Okay. So I'm going to center it the best I can. And that leaves this little portion still sticky. So you can put a piece of paper on there. See? Look at that. You could bring in that small piece of scrap back into play. And put it on the back. So I'm just going to cut out kind of like a arched portion of a piece here, not measuring by any means, and I'm just going to put that down. To kind of help it from sticking. Okay, there's one. Show you what I'm doing here. I'm just cutting like a sliver off of this piece and put it on the back. And trim away the portion that's showing, just like that. And it's not sticky in the back anymore. All right. Put it back on. And there we go, guys. We've got ourselves a really cute ephemera holder. What do you think? Okay, here's the one I made off camera. And like I said, give yourself a little bit of play when you make the belly band, because once you start putting pieces in there, it's going to thicken that up a little bit. So here's the one I made off camera. Okay, same way. The only thing I did on this one was I rounded the edges, the corners. We can still do that on this project. And I did some stenciling just for some light decorating on here. Okay, just like that. And I brought in some stenciling over the top of the scrapbook paper there, some letters and numbers, and then some on each of the flaps. And I really like that one. There we go. And that closes exactly the same along with the belly band. There we go. So what do you guys think? You like it? Really easy, right? Okay, well, I hope you guys like the project this week. This is week 3, guys, of my ephemera folder makes using one sheet of 12 by 12 piece of paper. I hope you guys like what you see. And as you see, I will use 99.9% of that 12 by 12 paper. Okay, that's all I've got left. And I'll keep those and I'll use them in another project where I need to make a wraparound closure. Not a problem. Okay. So that's what I've got for you this week, guys. I hope you guys like the makes. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I would love it if you would hop over to Anna G's channel. This week she is doing her makes for 12 by 12 ephemera folders. See what she's got going on over there. I'd love it if you hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment and a like. And as always, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. I'll see you next week. Take care and God bless. Bye-bye.